Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, the budget session of Parliament is beginning today. A lot of fireworks are expected because the opposition is going to target the government over various issues. That is the big story that we'd be looking at. But let us begin with the headlines. Budget session of Parliament to begin today. Government appeals for cooperation. Opposition puts onus of smooth functioning of session on centre. RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat triggers another row over reservations, says non-political committee should decide eligibility for quota. Opposition says suggestions against the spirit of constitution. Haryana Chief Minister to hold talks with Venkaiah Naidu over Jat reservation. This after fresh violence in state from protesters demanding written assurance from the government. Jolt to YSR Congress in Andhra Pradesh. 5 of its leaders switch sides to join the TDP. TDP Chief Naidu placates party members over new entrants. And Pakistan says Pathankot mastermind and Jaish Chief Maulana Masood Azhar is in protective custody since 14th of January. Says SI team to probe attack will visit India in the first few days of March. Now, top focus, the budget session of Parliament begins today. The session is expected for a stormy start with major opposition parties planning to corner the government over JNU and other issues. Now, President Pranab Mukherjee will address a joint sitting of Parliament today. After the conclusion of the President's address, half an hour of government business is expected to be transacted in both houses. The government has asserted that it was as much concerned about recent incidents in different universities as any other party and urged Parliament to thoroughly discuss their causes and consequences and show the way forward. Now, the main opposition, Congress, has put the onus of smooth functioning of Parliament on the government. Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan also held an all-party meeting on Monday evening. She hoped that the House will run smoothly and all issues will be discussed.
सभी पार्टी के लीडर्स आए हुए थे और बैठक में चर्चा भी बहुत अच्छी सौहार्दपूर्ण वातावरण में चर्चा हुई है। इन जनरल एक कॉन्शियस बना है कि पार्लियामेंट चलना चाहिए।
And earlier on the eve of the budget session, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu asserted and assured the opposition that there will be discussions on every issue inside Parliament. Now, Naidu urged the opposition to debate and discuss the issues without disrupting the session. However, the opposition has accused the government of setting the agenda for disruption and made it clear that no key bills will be passed in the first half of the session.
The government has urged the opposition to adopt a positive approach during the upcoming budget session of Parliament that begins Tuesday. After an all-party meet on Monday, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu said the government was ready to discuss the JNU row and the Rohit Vemula suicide case besides some other issues.
Everybody has assured that they will all cooperate in fully in functioning the House. Some of them said government should be willing to take up the important issues, burning issues. Some people use the word burning issues. And from the government side, I have assured them government is ready to discuss any issue, every issue.
The government is keen to push its legislative agenda, including the GST and real estate bills in this session. But the opposition said that only the bills with general consensus should be passed, making it clear that it will not allow passage of any key bill, including the GST, in the first half of the session.
जो भी कंट्रोवर्शियल बिल है वो इस वक्त नहीं लाने के लिए हमने कहा और जो सब सर्वसम्मति से जो भी बिल होगा वही हम पारित करेंगे और दूसरे बिल्स वो मार्च के बाद अप्रैल में जो लेना है तो सभी से कंसेंसस लेकर उसको पेश किया जाए।
The opposition also accused the government of setting the agenda for disruption and not wanting the parliament to function.
Unfortunately, the government has made it a habit to create conditions before every parliament session begins for potential disruption of that session. Creating that agenda is what the government is doing.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा है कि उनकी सरकार अस्थिर करने की कोशिश हो रही है हम मानते हैं सरकार की बात छोड़िए, देश अस्थिर होने की बात हो रही है, उसके बारे में सदन में चर्चा होनी चाहिए।
The budget session of Parliament is expected to be very stormy. The first showdown between the Treasury and the opposition benches is expected in Rajya Sabha on the 24th of February, the first working day of the session. The real budget will be presented on the 25th and general budget will be presented on the 29th of February. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now an update on the Jat quota stir. Well, Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar will hold talks with the committee headed by Venkaiah Naidu on Jat reservation issue today. The panel held its first meeting on Monday and called Khattar for deliberations to ascertain states' views on the subject. Now, this comes as fresh violence erupted in Rohtak and Sonipat as protesters continue to block roads, demanding a written assurance that the community will be given reservation.
युवा पीढ़ी के लिए हम मांग कर रहे हैं कि सरकार तुरंत इस आरक्षण को वापस ले। हमारा कोई बैर नहीं है और जब तक हमारा आरक्षण हमारा पटल नहीं मिल जाएगा हम ऐसे ही आंदोलन करते रहेंगे।
Despite an assurance from the government for reservation to Jats, violence continued unabated in Haryana on Monday. Stone-pelting mobs attacked security personnel, triggering a clash in which 3 civilians were killed, raising the death toll to 19 in the 9-day-old stir. Incidents of arson and violence were reported from several districts, including Sonipat, Rohtak, Kaithal and Hisar. Protesters also continue to block some roads, including the arterial Delhi-Ambala highway. On Monday evening, Home Minister Rajnath Singh took stock of the prevailing situation in the state with top officials, including NSA Ajit Doval, Army Chief General Dalbir Singh Suhag, besides others. The centre directed security forces to use force to clear blockades.
हमारे रोड पे 2 शोरूम्स हैं, दोनों को चलाया गया जी। पहले लूटा गया फिर चलाया गया जी। सड़क पे ला के रख दिया हमें।
हरियाणा के तमाम भाई बहनों से, तमाम नौजवानों से, तमाम राजनीतिक दलों के लोगों से, तमाम सामाजिक संगठनों के प्रमुख लोगों से ये अपील है कि हरियाणा में शांति की स्थापना में सब लोग सहयोग करें।
Meanwhile, Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar will arrive in the national capital today for examining the demand of Jats for quota in central jobs. He will hold discussions with the BJP-appointed high-powered committee headed by Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu. The panel held its first meeting on Monday. Separately, Haryana Cabinet held a meeting taking the decision to introduce a bill on Jat reservation in the upcoming assembly session.
सारी परिस्थिति की समीक्षा कैबिनेट में हुई है, किस प्रकार के हालात चल रहे हैं, किस प्रकार से प्रदेश में शांति बहाल हो और शांति बहाली का आंदोलन किस प्रकार से वापिस हो। सरकार ने सब प्रकार के स्टेप जो मांगे थी उसके लिए उठा लिए हैं। सरकार कह चुकी है कि जाटों को आरक्षण देंगे, बजट सत्र में विधेयक लाएंगे। जिन दुकानदार भाइयों की जिनकी भी जो नुकसान संपत्ति का हुआ है किसी का भी, सरकार उसके लिए कंपनसेशन देगी, मुआवजा देगी।
Meanwhile, the Munak Canal, which is vital for water supply to Delhi, that sustained heavy damages during the Jat agitation, has been partially repaired. The water supply to Delhi is expected to be restored by Tuesday. Jats in Haryana have been demanding reservation in government jobs for years. The previous Congress government had announced special backward caste for the community in 2013, but the Punjab and Haryana High Court stalled the move last year. The Supreme Court had also rejected the inclusion of Jats in the centre's OBC list. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in the other big story, well, RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat has stirred another controversy with his statements on reservation. Now, Bhagwat has suggested that a non-political committee should be formed to decide on who should be eligible for reservation. In an interactive session of a Chamber of Commerce in Kolkata on Monday, Bhagwat said, and I quote him now, "I feel a committee should be formed to decide who are eligible for reservation. The committee should be apolitical so that there are no vested interests. Which section of the society should be brought forward, for how long they should be given reservation. A time-bound program should be chalked out regarding it. But only because of someone's birth, a person does not get the opportunity. This should not be the case. As long as this problem prevails, this situation, that is the reservation, will be there." Quote unquote. Now, Bhagwat's comments come in the wake of the centre announcing the setting up of a committee under Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu to examine the quota demand for the Jat community. Now, Bhagwat's statement came in for severe criticism from the opposition, who suggested that that his ideas are against the spirit of the Constitution.
RSS Sarsanchalak Mohan Bhagwat ji, he had called for review of reservation in favor of Dalits and backwards. Later on, Bharatiya Janata Party resigned. Then current Lok Sabha Speaker, she expressed regrets on extending of reservation in favor of Dalits and backwards. And now again he calls for a review committee. It reflects a anti-Dalit, anti-poor, anti-backward mindset of Modi government. Congress party wants to respectfully warn as also tell Modi government that we will not accept tampering with or repeal of reservation of the poor of this country, of the Dalit and backward of this country.
कांग्रेस को ये बोलने का अधिकार नहीं है। सभी को याद है 1974 के इमरजेंसी, जो घटना घट रही है वो फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच ही है। इसी कारण ये घटना घट रही है। इमरजेंसी लगाने वाले लोग, लोगों के मुंह पर बंद करने वाले लोग, अभिव्यक्ति को बंद करने वाले कांग्रेस पार्टी को मुंह नहीं है इस पर एक शब्द भी कहे।
And in some other news, well, 5 Jawaharlal Nehru University students, including Omar Khalid, who are facing sedition charges, say that they will not surrender to the police. They say the police can come and arrest them. The university has denied permission to the Delhi police to enter the premises. Now, the Delhi police says that students must join the probe.
Facing sedition charges, the 5 Jawaharlal Nehru University students say they will not resist arrest. Lookout notices had been issued against students Umar Khalid, Anand Prakash Narayan, Ashutosh Kumar, Rama Naga and Anirban Bhattacharya on Saturday. All of them are alleged to have raised anti-India slogans at an event to mark the 3rd anniversary of Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru's execution on 9th of February.
एक तरह का मैंने टेरर क्रिएट किया गया था, एक तरह का विचेंटिंग हो रहा था। हम लोग की बहुत सारे थ्रेट को लाए, तो हम लोग को एक एडवाइस मिला कि आप लोग को एक सेफ जगह में अभी होना पड़ेगा, इसलिए हम लोग जेएनयू के आसपास थे, लेकिन हमेशा से यही कोशिश कर रहे थे। अब आप क्या करेंगे, सरेंडर करेंगे या क्या करेंगे? अब आप वही मैं बोल रहा था कि हम लोग हर एक टाइम कोशिश कर रहे थे कि जो भी प्रक्रिया होता है, जो जुडिशियल मैंने प्रोसेस होता है, उसमें हम लोग कोऑपरेट करेंगे। पुलिस को बुलाना या फिर ना बुलाना वो जेएनयू के वीसी को डिसीजन लेना है।
The students also rejected charges that they or any other JNU student raised anti-national slogans at the event. The students also alleged attempts to target some students and associate them with terrorism, even as they called for a stronger stand on the part of Vice Chancellor Jagdish Kumar.
हमारा एक सीधे ये है कि वाइस चांसलर जादवपुर वाइस चांसलर की तरह एक स्टैंड ले, और ये जब ये साबित हो चुका है कि जिस वीडियो पर ये लोग इतना उछल रहे थे वो वीडियो ही फेक है, तो हमारे ऊपर सारे खारिज किए जाए सारे केसेस।
Police teams have been positioned outside the JNU campus and have been told to wait for students to surrender.
अगर उनको पुलिस ढूंढ रही है, अगर पुलिस को उनकी आवश्यकता है, तो उन्हें जो है पुलिस की इन्वेस्टिगेशन ज्वाइन करनी चाहिए। अगर वो निर्दोष हैं, अपनी निर्दोषी का उन्हें साक्ष्य पेश करना चाहिए।
Meanwhile, Jawaharlal Nehru University has granted 7 days extension to the high-level committee set up by it to inquire into the event organized on 9th of February. The deadline to submit its report has now been deferred to 3rd of March. The opposition is gearing to corner the government on the budget session over the issue. Congress President Sonia Gandhi made a stinging attack on the centre, saying it has lost all sense of balance over the JNU row. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the government is all set to sell 5% stake in India's largest power producer, NTPC. The stake sale would be spread over 2 days, with institutional bidders getting the first chance to buy the shares. Retail investors, for whom 20% shares have been reserved, will get a bid on 24th of February. The government hopes to garner 5,000 crore rupees with this stake sale. Now, NTPC is the first company to hit the markets under the revised offer of sale or OFS guidelines of market regulator SEBI. The cabinet in May had approved the 5% stake sale in NTPC. The government holds 74.96% of in the firm. It had last sold stake in NTPC in February 2013. Last month also, the government had offloaded stake in EIL, or the Engineers India Limited. NTPC would be the 6th PSU to hit markets in the current fiscal. And now a look at the events lined up for the day in the day ahead. Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is to visit Bhuj in Gujarat to witness the earthquake reconstruction carried out when Prime Minister Modi was the Chief Minister of the state. The officials said that this is aimed at learning experience since Nepal is also facing the challenging task of rebuilding after last April's earthquake. His tour comprises visiting the relocation site and a discussion with local people at Bhimsar. Now, Oli will travel to Mumbai then to meet top business leaders there. The Supreme Court will hear the plea of BJP leader Subramaniam Swamy over the construction of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. This came after Swamy submitted a petition stating that the disputed mosque in Ayodhya could be shifted and the temple be constructed at the disputed site. In response, the court said that the issue would be heard before the bench, which is already hearing matters regarding the Ram Temple Babri Masjid Road. Close on the heels of the BJP winning 2 of the 3 assembly seats in the by-elections, Party President Amit Shah will convene a meeting of the core committee in the capital. Incidentally, the schedule of the meeting coincides with the declaration of results of the elections through the Zilla and Taluk Panchayats. There is no formal word about the agenda of the proposed meeting, but sources say that the BJP central leadership will discuss strategy to regain its political hold in Karnataka. Well, in a setback to the YSR Congress, 4 of its MLAs and 1 MLC have defected to the ruling Telugu Desam party in Andhra Pradesh. The leaders switched over to the TDP in the presence of Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu, who is also the TDP president. Now, YSR Congress legislators drove to the riverfront residence of Naidu in Vijayawada, where they were formally welcomed into the party. Several ministers were present on the occasion. The TDP chief held a series of talks with his party leaders from Kurnool and Kadapa districts to placate them over the entry of the YSR Congress legislators. Kadapa TDP leader Ram Subba Reddy has been strongly opposing the entry of his bitter rival Adi Narayanan into the party, though he said that he would go by the party chief's decision. And in Breakfast Bulletin, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries. Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m.
Well, Pakistan has said that Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar, that India has named as the mastermind of the Pathankot attack, is under protective custody since 14th of January. Now, Pakistan Prime Minister's Foreign Affairs Advisor Sartaj Aziz said that Azhar, along with a few others operatives of the Jaish-e-Mohammed, have been kept under protective custody and that some of the terror outfits' premises have also been sealed. He said that action will follow against Azhar and others the moment evidence comes, and he said that a special investigation team from Pakistan may visit Pathankot in the first few days of the month of March to probe the attack, and he said that his country was pursuing the investigation seriously. Well, this is for the first time that a top functionary of the Pakistan Parliament has confirmed that Azhar in his custody, though there were earlier reports contrary to that effect. The Pakistani authorities had lodged an FIR in connection with the Pathankot attack on 18th of February without naming Azhar. The terror attack led to the postponement of the Foreign Secretary level talks between India and Pakistan. And in news from Jammu and Kashmir, well, the operation to flush out militants in Pampore ended yesterday evening with the 3 militants being killed. 5 security personnel and a civilian also lost their lives in the operation. Now, clearing and sanitation operation are on with the army suspecting terror outfit Lashkar-e-Toiba behind the attack.
A 48-hour gun battle ended in the Pampore area of Pulwama on Monday. The operation claimed the lives of 3 terrorists, 2 army captains, a commando, 2 CRPF personnel and a civilian. The army said the Lashkar-e-Toiba was behind the strike.
ऑपरेशन अभी जो है उसमें 3 मिलिटेंट को मार दिया गया है और उनके साथ जो है उनके हथियार और काफ़ी मात्रा में जो है वॉरलाइक स्टोर वो रिकवर हुआ है और अभी जो बिल्डिंग को पूरा सिक्योर करने का और सैनिटाइज करने का वो प्रोसेस अभी चल रहा है.
Mopping up operations are on with security personnel sanitizing the Entrepreneurship Development Institute campus spread over 3 buildings. Many civilians were trapped inside the building who were all successfully evacuated on Saturday.
Large number of civilians at that point of time in that building. So immediately our focus was to evacuate the civilians and that they should not suffer any casualty. 120 odd civilians were evacuated in these bulletproof vehicles.
The terrorists were holed up inside a multi-story complex on the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway. The security forces managed to confine the terrorists in the machine room of the building. It was the deadliest suicide attack near Srinagar in 6 years. The encounter started after terrorists attacked a CRPF bus in Pampore. They killed 2 Jawans and injured 11 before hiding inside the building. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, on to the big international story now. The US-Russia brokered Syrian ceasefire will take effect at midnight on 27th of February. The announcement came at a time when Syria is reeling under a civil war. However, the Syrian rebels see flaws in the truce plan as the ceasefire will not apply to Islamic State and Al-Qaeda's Nusra Front.
A ceasefire agreed amid spurting violence in Syria. The US and Russia have announced a planned cessation of hostilities in the war-torn country beginning from this weekend. The joint statement came after Obama telephoned his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to discuss efforts to establish the cessation of hostilities.
This cessation of hostilities will apply to all parties in Syria except for ISIL, except for al-Nusra and other terrorist groups that have been so designated by the UN Security Council. In the coming days, the United States and our ISSG partners on the ceasefire task force will undertake a series of steps to implement the cessation of hostilities by February 27th.
Что касается ИГИЛ, Джабхат ан-Нусры и других террористических организаций, признанных в качестве таковых Советом Безопасности Организации Объединенных Наций,
Syrian rebels called it a flawed truce. Diplomats meanwhile said the truce might not be worth the paper it was written on. The UN is also skeptical as it said cessation of hostilities excluding Islamic State and Nusra Front militants could be a big challenge in terms of monitoring the ceasefire. However, Turkey welcomed the truce plan.
If you have a ceasefire, cessation of hostilities, which does not cover territory which is dominated by al-Nusra and Daesh, ISIL, then that is, of course, a huge challenge for us in terms of monitoring. And that we have to face later. But it is a very complicated situation.
The cessation of hostilities allows the Syrian army, allied forces and Syrian opposition to respond in self-defense. A significant loophole which allows further attacks, including airstrikes against Islamic State and other militant groups. Rebels feel Assad and Russia will make it as an excuse to pound opposition-held territories. A mere truce, just on papers, is the last thing Syria needs at this critical juncture. A fresh UN report said Syria is a fractured state on the brink of collapse, with rampant war crimes by both Assad forces and IS. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And more international news now in World Wrap. Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz fired his campaign spokesperson, staffer Rick Tyler, after he promoted a doctored video of the rival candidate Marco Rubio. The staffer had tweeted a story and a subtitled video that showed Rubio referring to the Bible as the good book with not many answers in it. Rubio's campaign actually said with all the answers are there. Now, Cruz's campaign has been repeatedly accused of lies and dirty tricks by rival campaigns. Thousands of migrants remain stranded near Athens and Greece's northern border after Macedonia stopped taking Afghan refugees. Macedonia is allowing only Syrians and Iraqis in. Now, this comes just days after Austria imposed a daily limit of 80 asylum claims on its southern border. Greece protested against the decision. China on Monday said that the military developments in South China Sea are no different from US deployments on Hawaii. The Chinese Foreign Ministry's comment comes ahead of a visit by Foreign Minister Wang Yi to the United States later this week. British Prime Minister David Cameron battled for his case at the floor of the House to avoid a Brexit. He warned leaving the European Union could hurt working people for years to come. He said leaving EU will be a leap in the dark. Just a day before, the London mayor had opposed the EU deal. Let's now get you all the sporting action in Sports Beat. Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel set the fastest time ahead of world champion Lewis Hamilton as Formula One pre-season testing started in Barcelona. Vettel's best lap was 0.47 seconds quicker than Hamilton, proving that Ferrari may be a challenge in 2016. Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo was the third fastest, a further 0.6 seconds behind, with Williams' Valtteri Bottas following. The IAAF Ethics Board has provisionally suspended Kenyan Athletics CEO Isaac Mwangi in the interests of the integrity of the sport. Mwangi has been suspended for 180 days pending investigation of the anti-doping control process in Kenya. Mwangi stood down as the CEO last week, saying that he was anxious to have his name cleared. Organizers in Zurich are making preparations for FIFA's Congress, which is set to begin on Friday. Delegates will debate and vote on a new president. In December, the former president, Sepp Blatter, was banned from the sport for 8 years for ethics violations. The main reform proposals of the National Soccer Associations will be incorporated and will come into force on 26th of April. Well, time to wrap up this bulletin now, but we leave you with these heartwarming visuals. A 106-year-old woman, Virginia McLaurin, waited all her life to see an African-American in the White House. So this is what happened when she finally got a chance to meet US President Barack Obama and the First Lady. Take a look as we take your leave. Thanks for watching.